Hey there, Cheese Meisters. Welcome back to the Peach Pod After Dark. I'm Jeff, and well, which is it, young feller? You want I should freeze or get down on the ground? Mean to say, if and I freeze, I can't rightly drop, and if and I drop, I'm a gonna be in motion. And joining me on the other end of the internet is my host.
I'm Leslie, and I love him so much.
So apparently, I actually have two things about that specific moment in the movie. One of them is that apparently that idea was the impetus for the script. It was like they had met Holly Hunter, they knew her, and the thought was, what if Holly Hunter couldn't have a baby?
Oh.
And it came, or something like that, and it came from that little germ of an idea. And I always thought that scene was so fucking funny. Like her just exploding into tears is hysterically funny. And then I had a baby and was sleep deprived. And I was like, oh, I fucking get it now. Like that makes so much sense to me. So yeah, that scene has changed its meaning for me a couple of times. But
So, I mean,
I know you do, honey.
Wrapped around Ember.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It's so funny.
I love her so much. I'm not jumping ahead. Everyone has an outburst in this, and it's great.
It is. It's so wonderful. So just to make it clear, we are talking about Raising Arizona this week. The 1987 baby heist gone wrong Coen Brothers masterpiece. Starring Nicolas Cage, Holly Hunter, John Goodman, Trey Wilson, Sam McMurray, Frances McDormand, who kind of steals the movie, Tex Cobb, William Forsythe, and our boy Emmett Walsh. We are doing this in conjunction with Season 2, Episode 22, Baby Makes Five, because there's a baby. Our spelling connection is, of course, Emmett Walsh, who had a star turn in Starsky and Hutch Once Upon a Day. And William Forsythe, Evel Snokes himself, was in an episode of T.J. Hooker.
Cool.
So we are connected. So this is your first time seeing Raising Arizona.
It is, finally.
And as discussed last week, I think at the end of the After Dark show, I think I said that for me, it takes a couple of watches for a Coen Brothers movie to really figure out what the hell's going on, because they're always so weird and they go in these funny little directions, and the stories are told in sometimes seemingly disjointed ways, but it all makes total sense when you look at it as a whole.
Mm-hmm.
And it gives a vibe and you have a whole feel. But it takes a while to kind of get it, whatever it is. You know,
Yeah.
even if it's funny, like when I first saw Raising Arizona, I thought it was real dumb.
Aw.
I did. I thought it was stupid. I thought all the jokes were dumb. I thought the car chase was funny. And that turns into the dog chase through the supermarket. Like, I thought that was funny.
Yeah.
But most of it I just thought was dumb because I was dumb. Like, I was, 14 or 15, whatever it was. And I've had that experience with most of their movies. Like, although The Big Lebowski too, I didn't think it was funny the first time I saw it. It was probably like the fifth time I saw it when I was like, fuck, this might be the greatest thing that's ever been made.
Oh, that makes me feel good then, because I totally didn't get The Big Lebowski when I first saw it. I went, every man loves this movie, but
it was such a slow grow on me. Like the second time I watched it, I was like, oh, that's kind of funny. And then it just kind of keeps getting more and more. And then finally I'm like, this is genius. All of it. This is perfect. I love this whole thing.
yeah.
So you've only now seen Raising Arizona once. How did it hit?
I liked it.
Mm-hmm.
I loved the styling of it. And Walter ended up watching it with me, so he made more verbal observations than I did. But I agree with them. Like, he noted how it kind of has a Wes Anderson feel in the very beginning, which I'm always for that.
I think that Wes Anderson adopted a Coen Brothers feel. But yes, yeah, I get it.
Yeah, thank you for that correction. Yeah, Coen Brothers came first. Um, but I really like the style of it.
Mhm.
It's I for once actually really liked all of the insane yelling. Um, once again, great observation by Walter because I went, "There's so much yelling," and he went, "It makes more sense than in Romeo and Juliet." And I went, "Well, Jeff will love that." Um, and I thought the story was really intriguing. I had a feeling, I think it was halfway through the film, whenever he's talking to Frances McDormand's husband,
Yeah.
I went, "Oh, they're returning this baby." Um, which, what a weird thing to say. They're returning this baby.
Returning this baby. Mind you don't cut yourself, Mordecai.
No, I liked it. Did I worry? Maybe not worry, but there were many times I thought, I'm not sure what this all means.
Uh-huh.
To be fair, I feel that with a lot of things because
Sure.
I get in my own head about if I don't understand this right away, I'm dumb.
Right.
And I know
So
that's not true, but still.
It's very much not true. And here's how it's not true. I think I just figured this movie out this morning.
Oh, wow.
And I have loved it for 25 years. Maybe 30 years. No, I've loved this since high school. I've loved this 30 years. It's possible to fully enjoy this movie and not really have your head around all of the shit that goes on in it.
Agreed.
And that's what I love about when they're funny. The way they're funny is so great to me because it's so different than when, like, we talked about Fletch or Ghostbusters, like the smartassery and the guy who goes into one room after another and just like cracks wise on whatever is happening. This is all of the humor from this comes from the characters and the choices they make, and like the way High talks is so funny.
Oh my god, I know.
And it's like he's a dumb guy trying to sound smart.
Yeah.
But he's self-aware a little bit. And so all the stuff he says has this real weird lyrical quality to it.
It's
Like
great because
he chooses.
I feel like so often we make fun of the small town folk. We make fun of people who have a twang.
Yeah.
Anyway, what I like about this though is it didn't feel as if they were making fun of these people. They were showing the humor in being from a small town in a way, or the people that you see in everyday life. I mean, because I feel like you and I have met these kinds of people.
Sure.
From our childhood. I mean, there's definitely a friend of the family. I know that if other people meet, I'm just like, listen, they're a character. They're being absolutely real. But, and then also going along with the language, I mean, when he's writing out his letter, I went, oh, so you know some words. Okay.
Right. Yep.
So beautiful. I love it. I'm like, okay, yes, let's not keep making people with whatever dialect, let's not make it seem like they're stupid. They're not. That's just where they're from.
Yeah. And he has but he also has this way of misusing phrasing. Like, I'm okay, you're okay, that there's what it is. Like he's, and we've been over this and over this. There's what's right, and there's what's right, and there the twain shall meet. Like that's not that, but it's so perfect, And then he's, I never positioned myself a 3-piece suit type. That's the way that most people would say, I'm not a businessman.
Lily St. Regis going, I don't stoop to what you're insinuating.
Right. Yeah, exactly. So here's what happens in Raising Arizona. Just broad strokes. It starts with the most beautiful voiceover in the history of cinema. Sets up the entire movie, gives you jokes before the opening credits hit.
Yeah.
It gets a good 10 minutes of High explaining who he is, showing the ways in which he goes in and out of prison and meets Ed. Short for Edwina, turn to the right. And like comes back to propose to her, and like then they get a starter home in suburban Tempe, which is hilarious. And Ed's point that one more day keeping a child out of this world is a day they might have missed. So, they gave it a try on the days that they felt most likely, and on most other days too, just to be safe. And then the roof caved in. And it turns out that Ed's insides are a rocky place where his seed could find no purchase.
Oh, that was a great line.
It's so funny. And then because he is a convicted felon, it's not quite offset by the fact that she's a decorated. She's a officer of the law, twice decorated. And so biology and the prejudices of others conspired to keep them childless, which is again an amazing way to say that.
I just realized something too. This is Up. The first 10 minutes of this are like, are wacky. I don't know, more realistic or not. It's a variation of the first 10 minutes of Up.
It stops before they get old, but
yes. Heartfelt and devastating, and yet once again finding the hilarity in tragedy, which is the best and all you can do.
Right, and it's the little things about that first 20 minutes that are so great. It's the fact that every time he goes back to showing himself at work with Emmett Walsh, he is telling him the same story both times. I'm walking down 9 Mile that's Bill Parker, you understand? And he's got a sandwich in one hand and the fucking head in the other. Like, he's living this repetitive life. And the fact that that's the story, and that, not that mother scratcher, Bill Parker.
Yeah.
Like, it's so wonderful. And then every time he goes before the parole board and they release him because he's, learned his lesson, whatever. He's no longer recidivism. That's one bonehead name, but that ain't me.
Yep.
Okay then. And then they go to the doctor, and he's explaining the rocky place, and the doctor is pointing at the picture of the female anatomy, the diagram, and he's got this like weird little smile on his face the whole time. It's so funny. And you get all of the characters, you get the total tone of the film, you get the problem set up in this amazing voiceover sequence that you don't even realize you haven't seen the opening credits for until a premonition, no return of the salad days.
Yeah.
Which again, what kind of language is that? Like, that's so wonderful. The choice of words in this movie.
Shit like that is my favorite. I love that trope. I love things that use flowery language, whether it be correct or it be incorrect as a basis of like the I love the style. It's what drew me to Dawson's Creek. It's what influences my own writing, because like I love writing dialogue. And so often I catch myself thinking like, oh my God, do people talk like this? And I'm like, yes, they do. And also like, it doesn't matter. Like, it's part of the story. You're still muted.
I was saying the people in your world need to talk like this. If the people in this world don't, that's a different world.
I don't like this world.
Right. No, this world has problems. But so they can't have kids. And then the biggest news breaks in the history of Arizona since the Hoover Dam. Florence, Arizona gave birth to the Arizona Quints. Florence, Arizona is the wife of Nathan, Arizona. And Nathan, Arizona, well, hell, you know who he is. Like, that is such a wonderful fucking setup. And then they cut to Nathan, Arizona doing his commercial for Unpainted Arizona. Or my name ain't Nathan, Arizona, which it isn't.
Nope.
His name is Nathan Huffines.
Yep.
So, like, it's such a great joke. Like, his whole character is based on, or my name ain't Nathan, Arizona, and then it ain't.
Yeah.
You don't have to do that, but it's perfect that they do it. Anyway, Hi goes to kidnap one of the babies because they got more than they can handle. And it's impossible to tell this movie or talk about this movie without using the dialogue of the movie. Because it perfectly describes what's going on and their motivations and everything they're doing. So they steal themselves Nathan Jr., or whichever the hell one of them they took. Yeah. This one's awful damn good, though.
Gary Larry. I thought about Gary Gergich, and I was like, where's Jerry?
It's true. Nathan Jr. is where he is. Yeah, and I left them 4 babies almost as good as this one here. Which, again, is ridiculous. That's so funny. What a weird thought to have. But also accurate. Like, if you think you took the best baby, then you left 4 substandard babies behind. But they're close.
Is that why he kept, like, picking them up and moving them around?
I think so. I think he was testing them out, trying to find the right baby to take.
Because it was such a weird moment. I was like, you are messing this up.
Huh? It's the heist of the baby is so stressful. Like, it's so funny. Like, the one baby that just drools on his ass and jumps on him. And then the one he has to catch at the stairs, and the Jaws music of the one crawling under the... I mean, the whole thing is so well choreographed, and it just chaos. And you watch Hi kind of lose his mind.
Yeah.
Like, he has, in every other criminal enterprise, he's not been stressed about it, even when he locked himself out of his own car and had to, like, run off by foot.
Yeah.
He's never stressed about this. But he's not stressed when he's being arraigned. He's flirting with Ed. Like, Hi's got it all together, attitude-wise. And then he gets with these babies, and he's a mess. And he's a mess the rest of the movie. Like, his hair gets crazier.
Oh, my God. His hair was great.
Yeah. And so, let's see. Steals the baby. Then 2 people from prison break out and come to his house. And Ed doesn't want them there, but they're hanging around. Makes them leave so some decent friends can come over. And then the 2 swingers that Glenn and Dottie come over from his work, and she wants to sneak a peekaloo at the little angel.
We gotta get a doctor. We gotta get a doctor.
Have you started his bank accounts yet? Have we done that? What's that for, huh? That there's for his orthodonture and his university. Suck his thumb and iodine might get by without the orthodonture. Won't take thing off the university. Which, again, is such a weird way to talk, but it's perfect.
Yes.
What if you get run over?
I love Frances McDormand.
Ed's got her hands full with this little angel, huh?
Yeah.
He's an angel straight from heaven. You could, like, every single thing out of her mouth is great.
Yeah.
That she's in one scene, take that diaper off of your head and put it back on your sister. Like, every single thing out of her mouth is hilarious. If I had another baby, I would name him Caleb, Jacob, or Tab. She's fucking national treasure, Frances.
Yes,
The only thing she ever did was that scene in Raising Arizona. She'd be like a top 5 actress of all time, in my mind. Like, she's just fucking brilliant. But Glenn suggests swinging, and Hi doesn't.
Bob Carrollton House.
Yeah, no, as in L'Amour, as in to swing, and Hi has kind of had it at this point. Knocks Glenn out. Then Glenn comes back yelling about his name ain't Hi Junior. His name ain't Ed Junior. His name is Nathan Jr. Which, of course, Gale and Neville hear. The biker of the apocalypse is coming. Everyone converges. They have to save the baby. There's a wonderful bank robbery that happens in the middle of it. And then they return the baby. So a lot goes on in this movie, and it's 96 minutes long.
Yeah. Like, pretty quick film. I mean, and it doesn't feel quick, but it doesn't feel long.
Right.
It's great.
So,
great pacing.
It is. And here's what I think I figured out that this movie, what's going on in this movie. Okay, and it's a couple of things. But it's all one big piece. This movie is mostly, it starts out with, in one of the parole hearings, the one parole officer says to High, "You're only hurting yourself with this rambunctious behavior," after he's been arrested like 3 times.
Yeah.
And that's what is happening to High. The whole movie, he just keeps hurting himself with his rambunctious behavior. He robs these convenience stores that send him back to prison.
The same one.
The same one.
The same one. Like,
well, look, it's not easy with that sumbitch Reagan in the White House.
oh my God, that was great.
They say he's a decent man, so maybe his advisors are confused. Yeah, I find myself driving past convenience stores that aren't on the way home. Is so great. And so he just keeps fucking up.
Yeah.
And then he gets married and things settle down, but biology and the prejudices of others. And so Ed has this idea, and High goes in with more rambunctious behavior to steal a baby. Something he's clearly not capable of doing. And by doing this, he unleashes upon himself the evil biker of the apocalypse. His dream births this man in some way. And I don't know if you noticed it, but they have the same tattoo.
I did notice that.
Yeah, which I think is that this Smalls is like a part of High in some way. So he brings this malevolence into his life by committing this act. Then he punches out his boss. Right? But what's really happening in this whole sequence, in the middle of him and his rambunctious behavior, is that High is setting loose upon himself his own destruction. And he's presented with 4 possible futures after he steals the baby. The one is Smalls.
Yeah.
Especially hard on the little things. Glenn, because he punches him out. Gale and Neville, right? But more than just he punches him out, when Glenn comes over, High sees a possibility in his future of being this guy.
Yeah. Working
this job, having these shitty little kids write fart on the wall. And like Mr. McDonough wet himself. And he hates that vision of his life.
Yeah.
So he doesn't like the biker of the apocalypse, and he doesn't like the Glenn vision of his life. And then Gale and Neville break out of jail and come to visit because they're such good friends. And they offer him a way back in. Like, you can join us on this heist, you can leave Ed. That's another vision of High's future that he doesn't like. But before he can get to the vision that he sees in his last dream of the movie, he has to vanquish each of those 3 things that he created himself.
Okay.
He created the biker of the apocalypse. He has to blow him up. He has to get Glenn just out of there. Because Glenn sets off Gale and Neville because they're not paying any attention. They're planning to rob a bunch of hayseeds.
Drinking more beer than has ever been in Arizona.
So much beer. And they steal the baby. That High then has to rescue the baby from them and kill the biker of the apocalypse and get rid of the threat of Glenn by returning the baby.
Yeah.
And when he returns the baby, he is presented with a different future. And that's what's going on in this movie. This guy just keeps doing the wrong thing.
Yeah.
And in order to get to the place where literally every old person in this movie is, which is just, okay then.
Okay.
Like, it is the attitude of the parole board guy, the guy who sells the balloons that don't blow up into funny shapes. Unless round is funny is my favorite joke in this entire movie.
Wow.
It hit so hard because it's so, like, that's not what he means.
Yeah.
But it does blow up into this shape. And if you find that shape funny, then I'm giving you the wrong information. And that's so fucking funny to me. And the guy in the bank who wants to know if he should freeze or drop. That he's so tall. Every old person in this movie just takes it as it comes. And for High to make it to that point in his life where he can just be, okay then, he has to create and dispense with all of these different possible futures.
That's interesting. It's like I feel like the Odyssey is its own type of genre because it influences so many things, and this is a version of the Odyssey.
Have you seen Oh Brother?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that is the Odyssey. That's them directly doing the Odyssey. But I do think that I read something when that movie came out, which is like them saying, we've been accused of doing this before, so we're really doing it this time.
Ah.
You know, like, maybe I'm making that up, but I feel like that is something I read.
But the thing is, I feel like there can be many versions of the Odyssey. Like the way I described our cross-country move from Portland to New York. I know, I triggered
She remembers.
I triggered. You slept most of the time.
Yeah, but it's lumpy.
You say my lap is lumpy?
I thought she was in the backseat.
No.
I was just complaining. I was being Ember complaining.
Now I'm exposing myself. Everyone's going to be like, you're a terrible mom.
Please,
We're editing this.
ladies present. Yeah, this part.
Why are you flashing me? Huh?
Nice. Good work. Answer.
Wow, where was I?
Oh,
Oh, yeah.
the Odyssey.
The way I kept describing.
Portland trip.
Yeah, from Portland to New York, it was an odyssey. I wish we had met cool variations of monsters along the way, but no, they were just humans, or you know, not even just humans. I mean, hell, it was during the pandemic, so that was its own
Right. Very few humans. Yeah. Look at you saying fancy ass words.
Thank you, because I always forget if it's Scylla or Scylla.
I don't know which one it is, but I got Skillas. Nailed it. High five myself.
No sirens because I am a siren.
What? So, like, I think that is the movie. I think that's what's going on here.
Yeah.
Thematically, all the way through. And again, I've seen this movie 50 times. And I never sort of thought about it in those ways. Like, and even Ed, like, needs this arc to become who she is again.
Yeah.
Because after she's determined to be barren and she loses interest in criminal justice and housekeeping, she's lost. And she finds herself maybe that she, at the end of the movie, turns back into the cop. Like, she puts her uniform back on to go chase, and because she realizes she's become no better than Gale and Neville Snoke's finest pair to ever broken in her.
Uh-huh.
So, give me back my baby, you warthog from hell. Like, she is, she's got
I love
some
her.
Mad Max in her in that moment. Like, she is fully her badassness.
I mean, yeah, she faces him down, grabs that baby, and just runs on foot.
Yep.
You know? Amazing.
Which is um like it I didn't realize how similar the ending of this or that part of this was to the ending of Mad Max because I'd never really seen Mad Max. Like I knew that sort
Mm.
of visually you get that that's sort of what they're going for, right? Like if you know anything about Mad Max, even if you've just seen a picture of the movie poster,
Yeah.
it's dry and barren and a road going down the middle of the desert. Like it's cars and it's motorcycles and it's that. Um
I hadn't thought about that. I knew you mentioned something like keep an eye out for the Road War or something, and like
yeah.
I've only seen the remake of Mad
Yeah.
Max.
And I had never seen Mad Max until like 2 months ago. So
Oh,
this is
okay.
relatively fresh in my mind. But at the end of Mad Max, his wife, they have to save his child from a gang of bikers. And this old lady with a shotgun like holds off the bikers while the mom goes and picks up the baby. And they get in her car and they run away. The bikers break out of their jail, get on their bikes, and start chasing her down. Her car breaks down, so she has to get out and run with the baby. Right? Just
Yeah.
like Holly Hunter running down the middle of the road with the baby. Only in Mad Max, the bikers catch up and kill her and the baby, just run them down. Um, but this is set up very similarly. You know, like they stop the
Yeah.
car in the middle of the road, not because they're out of gas, but because you never leave a man behind. And she takes like all of those things happen in this, but they don't end up smushed in the road, which is,
Thank God.
yeah, much, much happier ending for Nathan Jr. than for Mad Max Jr., whatever his name was. It was
Man,
calling him Jr. for no
running with
reason.
a baby is not an experience I know. So if you can do that, shout outs to you. My God.
And shouts to the baby actor who is able to like be run with and then also pull
Oh my
the
God. Well, first of all, she's definitely holding a doll. I would hope in those moments for as much as people go off on like, don't shake the baby. I'm like, well,
right.
that's gonna shake the baby.
Yeah, no, she probably.
Okay, also speaking of that, although this could go in what else, but I'm gonna go there. Uh did you see the number of babies that it took for them or that they used in this film?
No, I didn't. How many?
They used 15.
That's awesome.
It's insane.
That's so many babies. That's a lot of babies to have to. It's really funny.
I couldn't help it. Like, granted, this is a small detail and it only adds to the hilarity in a way. So they might have done this on purpose. When we first see those quints, I went,
Uh huh.
those are some big newborns.
They were big. Yeah, they were pretty big. Yeah, and they can all sit upright. Which is
Hey, all sit upright, hold their head up, they're smiling already. They're doing
yeah,
all kinds of things, which, again, I think it speaks to whatever. I mean, because you can use newborns now, like,
right.
and everything. But again, you still have to have multiple because you can only work a baby, I think, for like 4 hours.
Yeah, and I mean, they had to be older than newborns because you needed them to be toddlers so that you could do the crawling around crazy scene. And
Yeah.
I think what we're supposed to take from that maybe is that it took them this long to plan their climb up the ladder and steal one plan. Like it's a very complicated scheme
I
that
didn't
they
even think about that. I
yeah
I thought it was just kind of again like its own funny thing, like because
yeah
is that a nitpicky? I mean, yes, nowadays people would again me. I'm sure many other people would be like, that's not the size of babies right then.
yeah.
But there's a hilarity to it.
And I think I do think maybe it is like I might there's a tendency for me sometimes to read too much into things or try to, but it's possible that like that's a joke. Like
Okay.
I know you've seen the Big Lebowski, but didn't whatever. But there's two things in the Big Lebowski that I think are referential to just this moment. One of them is when they're gonna not drop off the money at the beginning. Walter's plan is to go and grab the people who got the ransom and beat the location of Bunny Lebowski out of them. And he's like, the beauty's in its simplicity. And the dude is like, it's a Swiss fucking watch if I understand it correctly. So like maybe the beauty of their plan is in its simplicity. Like just take the ladder and put it up there.
I know. I thought that was funny. I went, they're just taking a ladder?
Yeah. And the other part of it is that the scene in The Big Lebowski when Walter pulls his gun on Smokey for going over the line.
Mm-hmm.
And the dude is like, Walter put the piece away. They're calling the cops. He puts it away. They bold their game and are leaving. And then you hear sirens as they're leaving. It took that long for the cops to come. And that's the only hint you get to that being the joke. You just have to sort of recognize those things, that there's this gap of time between these two things that we're seeing right next to each other. But the fact that there's a gap there makes it funny.
Yeah.
And like the fact that it took them until those babies could crawl to come up with this plan, which is a Swiss fucking watch, if I understand it correctly. The ladder up and go inside. And then just everything will be cool.
Yeah.
I kind of think that's the level of joke you're getting here.
Okay.
You know, like something that subtle is just there for if you notice that that's what happened. And if you don't, it's fine. Because the baby thing is hilarious.
I think that version is funny. I think with regards to how the Arizonas are acting, like they just look up the whole time. That's funny no matter what, like no matter where they are in the baby's growth. Because I'm, again, don't know, but anytime I think about how I would be with a baby that first year or two, I feel like I wouldn't sleep ever, and not because they're crying or whatever. I would just be like, are you still breathing?
You 100% go into their room in the middle of the night and just watch their back to make sure they're breathing. Sometimes you just have to. Right.
You know, my dog is old, so like, I'm sorry I keep making that comparison, but also like, no, I come in and definitely check, like, if she hasn't, barked off our faces when we first come in, I'm like, is she alive?
Yeah, right. Mm-hmm. No, that's exactly what it's like with newborns. Like when kids, because when they get to toddler age, especially got 5 of them up there all sharing the same bed, they can climb out. Like if you heard that that's not the first time that those kids have climbed out of that crib. And I mean, maybe you just don't give a shit. Like maybe that's 80s parenting at its best, which is just like, no, they'll figure it out.
Yep.
But it just keeps going.
We got some to spare.
Yeah. I mean, Gary will watch Larry. It's, Yeah. No, I do think that that's sort of a little bit what's going on there. I love Nathan Arizona.
Yeah.
Every scene he's in is so funny. It's so full of bullshit and bombast until the very end. But the sir, you might want to wash your hands at this time. He's like that whole scene of nobody sleeps naked in this house. I don't know. They were jammies. They had Yodas and shit on them. Which is like, I use that description of everything when Liam was a baby. Oh, they got Yodas and shit on them.
Oh, I wish I had this memorized.
I mean, this is one of those movies again where the quotes just won't stop.
Yeah,
but they're so much different than Dropping Fletch or Ghostbusters quotes because the language is so flowery.
The language and the dialect.
Yeah.
How you see things is comedy in itself. You know?
You hear that? We're using code names.
This is my code names now.
Oh my god! It's so. We're just about to begin robbing proper.
Yeah.
The way they talk. it's so much those words in that order coming out of these faces with those accents. It's just
To go
great.
back to the yelling, I mean, it's not, wait, it's Evel and what's the other guy's name?
Gale.
Gale. Okay, I was right. Glenn and Gale.
Yeah, John Goodman. John Goodman is Gale.
When they first come out and for 5 minutes.
Yeah, it's a birthing scene.
Oh my god.
Yeah, and Evel comes out breech. That's what I mean. This is what you get with a Coen.
Nice, the layers, because then go back when the baby get. Oh my god!
They go back where they're most comfortable. They crawl back up inside the womb.
I wish I could do that.
Oh, who can? These guys are geniuses. Like, there's a reason that they're who they are. Like, and no one else is. Like, it's just all the things are a Swiss fucking watch. Like, their plots are so intricately wound.
Yeah.
And that the pieces, even to describe them, seems crazy.
Yeah.
You know? And you have to use their own words to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it would be so dull to read a synopsis of this movie that didn't include, recidivism.
I shall
Repeat offender.
Yeah.
Yep. That's one bonehead name, but that ain't me no more. Or the because we just want, you're not just telling us what we want to hear, huh? Because we just want to hear the truth. Well, then I guess I am telling you what you want to hear.
We just said don't tell us that.
Okay then. Like, it just the dialogue is so wonderful in its weirdness that I can't get past how much I love this movie and how dumb I was when I was like 15. Like, you can't get all this shit when you're 15. You just see that car chase is hilarious.
This is I will never understand people who actively don't rewatch things, because there is stuff that either I didn't like, or it's been many years since I have visited something, and like, you're gonna get something new from it. Like, this is why, if you didn't like anything you had to read in school, read it again, because I guarantee you're gonna understand it so much better.
Yeah.
And actually care about it.
I 100% agree with that, except I'm not reading Separate Piece again. Those guys can fuck themselves.
And I want to say, too, don't reread The Scarlet Letter. No, I can give you other books that are better than that.
Right. But no, the rewatch is really enlightening sometimes. You just see stuff. Yeah. Like, again, I couldn't have described the plot of this movie the way I described it here, clunky as that may have been, before this morning.
Yeah.
And I've seen this movie 50 times.
I think, too, you get to relax more into a rewatch because you know what's going to happen. And so you get to look at other things. Like, thankfully you did tell me to, like, hey, keep an eye out for, like, this thing and this thing. And I tried, but then I also would get caught up in the scene itself. Mm-hmm. And again, thankfully Walter was watching. So I went, hey, did you see this?
And here's the thing about that. I still haven't figured out why OPE and POE are written on the bathroom door.
Yeah.
It's obviously a Dr. Strangelove reference. Like, it is. You can't do those three letters if you're a filmmaker who makes offbeat dark comedies and not know Dr. Strangelove. There's no way you're putting them there and not making it a reference. I don't know what the tie-in is.
And that's okay.
Yeah, I would love to figure it out, but 30 times in and I haven't figured it out. So do you have thoughts about the intimacy in this movie?
Strangely enough, I'm going to keep this one a little short because there wasn't a lot, at least that I haven't already said, I do want to note, because even though as I was watching this film, I thought, like, honey, you should have known who you were getting with when you married him. I mean, you met him you met him in jail. Like,
Right.
you met him at work and not on your side.
Right.
Um,
Exactly.
but at the same time, it's their love for each other is really sweet. I love when they're
Mhm.
sitting in the sun chairs together. I'm like, that actually looks really nice. I
Yeah.
don't want to live in the desert, but that kind of looks nice. And
That
then
was
like
beautiful.
I think the most beautiful moment between them is when they've given back the baby and they're just watching, and you can see everything you need to, like, their love for each other, their love for this baby. And
Mhm.
again, because I mean, you're seeing it not just as an audience, but also Nathan Arizona, because he realizes,
Mhm.
like, oh, you're the ones
Right.
who stole
And
it.
I see why. And before you do another fool thing like busting up, sleep on it, you
Yeah.
know?
So I think that was the best moment in it. I don't think we needed more than that, because their love story is not the focus. You know, we get what we need to from them in the first 10 minutes, and it doesn't have to be about physical. It's just
Hmm.
about people meeting and having a spark, and
Hmm.
we see that spark develop, and that's incredible. So, for what little there is, I feel like they did a very good job. Again, they focused on the non physical storytelling
Hmm.
of it.
I, tell me if this falls into the intimacy category. The Because I think that we know so much about their relationship by the way they argue.
Mm,
Like their back and forth arguing in the car chase about who he is, what he's done. They've got a baby now. Everything's changed, and he's given her. Take a left here, honey. Like, and I never pictured myself a three-piece suit type. Like they're like the way they argue with each other, and also still go get the huggies.
yeah,
Is like there's a teamwork there
yeah.
that's interesting, and I don't know if that's like an intimacy, like if there's an intimacy piece to that.
I think there can be. I mean, I think in that regard, if I was called in to something like that, it would be more of like a consultation. Let's talk through it.
Mhm.
That's probably, I mean, that's something I would definitely feel comfortable with the director
Mhm.
taking a hand in, because you're not having to develop. I mean, if the director or the actors feel like there needs to be some physical thing there, which I don't see why there would
When
be,
she
but if,
punches him, well, she does
oh,
punch him.
that's true. Well, that's a fight coordinator.
True.
So yeah, I mean, ideally, yes, I want to be called in for all the things, helping,
Right.
you
Yeah.
know, helping people think of these things about relationships that they don't think about otherwise, because more often than not, people just go like, "Oh, I get to kiss," or like, "Oh,
Right. Right. Right.
I've kissed before. Why? I don't need someone coordinating her. They trust me. We're friends." And it's like,
Right.
stop it.
Yeah. Yeah. Talk it out.
You've yes, you've kissed. Have you kissed as this character? Have you kissed
Right.
this character? No? Stop it.
Yeah. Stop it, everybody.
I'm nicer in person, I promise. But I'm not being paid to be nice about my opinions with this right now.
That's true.
So it's just, again, it's no one is questioning the director like they are Ices. And also, like, for anyone to assume that everyone has the same level of experience with intimacy is so dumb.
Yeah.
It's so
Yeah.
dumb. Just yeah, I don't get it. We're not puppets. We are actual humans, and we are
Yeah.
playing other humans. Like, I can't think of any other like analogy or explanation for it right now other than like, that.
Yeah. Support to talk it through.
But no, that's a great question.
Yeah. I love the way that they interact. Those fights are hilarious.
Yeah.
And stuck in the middle of a car chase, and they're going to pick up the huggies, and it's like it just the layers of what's happening there. Like, let's come back to the car chase later, because I think it's in my EST.
I love the music in that too. Like,
So now it's Needle Drop Forest, and here's what I'll say for Needle Drop Forest. Like, that is so awesome.
it's great.
So, like the like it gives like driving tension to the action that's happening, and it feels like a chase, but it's so silly and so southwestern. You know, like it sounds like cowboys sitting around a fire, just like yodeling out this sound.
Yeah,
I'll pitch my voice wherever I please.
it's so simple and perfect at the same time.
Yeah, it there's not even there's very little other music, but that is wonderful.
It informs you. Look at the hilarity of this chase. This is ridiculous. You know, like music is so important in more ways than one.
Yeah, it's awesome in this. All right, what do you got for what else time?
I was thinking of just some notes that I had, like, can anyone change for love? That was one of the first things I wrote down. Because I feel like they certainly try, and but you very much get the feeling in this, like, you know what? Sometimes it's best not to fight who you are,
Yeah, but I think
try
they
to be
do.
Better. Well, they definitely fight who they are, but I think in the end they go back to, I don't know. He doesn't necessarily go back to like robbing convenience stores. Like he's going to try to be better, but I feel like overall people go back to where they feel they are supposed to be.
Right. But I think that like my now definitive read on the movie, because I think I'm right about it now, is that he earns that fourth future.
Yeah.
And that's what, so he does change by vanquishing all of his own rambunctious behavior.
Yeah.
Like I think that he does get that. And I think that he does change for the love of Edwina.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So, I mean, I think that's definitely in there. Like, can he? And I think he does.
So maybe it's not so much a question of can people change, it's how can you change? How much can you change?
Yeah. And sometimes changing is changing back, like Edwina does.
Yeah.
She goes back to who she should have. Exactly. They return back to where they're most comfortable. Yeah.
So crazy.
And Nathan Jr. is returned back to where he's most comfortable, or whichever the hell one of them they took. So, yeah, no, I think everybody comes back home at the end of this in some way.
Yeah.
And, maybe it's Utah.
Yeah.
Such a great joke.
Maybe it's Utah.
Yeah. So is this Nicolas Cage's defining role?
No.
What is for you? What do you think?
So I'm not a big viewer of Nicolas Cage.
Sure.
And I don't even want to say the one because controversial opinion, did not care for National Treasure.
Oh, it's not that movie's stupid.
Okay, great. Didn't care for it. I don't know if that's his defining role either. I don't know. Nick Cage is just Nicolas Cage.
He kind of defies role categorization.
Yeah.
Because to me, he's kind of HI, but he does so many other off the wall crazy man performances. You can't. So I don't think so, but for me, it's real close.
Okay.
It's because of Nicolas Cage is Nicolas Cage. Holly Hunter.
So I haven't seen Holly Hunter in a lot of things. She is an actress that I have seen clips of either in commercials for something she's doing, or so for me, yes, this is now going to be what I know her as, but I know she's done other shit, and I don't think this is the defining role for her.
Okay. It's real close for me, though.
Okay.
Like of all the Holly Hunter stuff, this is the thing I love the most.
Okay.
You know. So, John Goodman.
No.
No, I don't think it is either.
I think it's possibly his role in Big Lebowski.
This isn't even his most defining Coen Brothers role.
Yeah.
You know, but I mean, a lot of people, you know, see him as, you know, from Roseanne. You know, like that's the thing they think of when they think of John Goodman. He's another one who's done too many things to pin, but
no.
Walter Sobchak is right up there at the top. So, but I love him in this. Frances McDormand.
Absolutely not. This is not her most defining role. I love her. I think her most defining role is, or one of the most, because again, he's just great. She is a character in herself. Can
I guess what you're going to say? Can I guess what you're going to say? Almost Famous.
Oh, wow. I completely forgot that. That's funny. No, you would think that with me. I was thinking Fargo.
But it is Fargo. That's the answer.
Of course, it's so even sillier than if I had said, what did she say? Musicians have kidnapped my son. If I had said that, no, the crazier one, the first thing I saw her in was Madeline.
Oh, interesting.
Where she played Miss Clavel. And I was just thinking earlier of that moment when they go, what do you do on your days off? And she goes, I pray. It's like,
I can see that. Yeah. Yeah, no, she's definitely Marge Gunderson. But she's wonderful in everything. And again, steals this whole thing.
Yeah.
Kind of have his dip net. And then when
you guys are for a minute.
Oh yeah. And then
the most stand-up I've ever seen her.
Yeah, oh yeah, she's very painted.
Yeah.
Yeah, very painted in this. And you know what? That dip tet joke is also hilarious because they bring it back when Hy tells Gail and Evel that she's going to take the baby to get some shots, and Evel goes, "Well, so you need his dip tet." Even Evel knows about your dip tet. It prevents lockjaw and night vision.
I feel like there's a joke there to be made about you can tell a generation by the vaccines that wears.
Right. Yeah, for sure. You're still doing the dip tet though.
I don't remember, but I'll take your word for it.
Yep, we're still doing the dip tet. It's important. All right. EST. What do you got?
This is the least thought out heist.
It's yeah.
But maybe time. So bad at what they're doing.
Uh-huh. And it took a year and a half to come up with a ladder. Yeah, I know. It's so great. That whole scene is so well shot. All of the different babies everywhere. And when he comes out, they're all over me. It was horrifying.
Oh my God, yeah.
I'm like,
we're not leaving until you get me a baby.
I want a baby. They got more than they can handle. For me, this might be the movie combined that has the best bank robbery car chase in all of cinema. Multiple car chases, like the one at the end with Gail and Evel leaving the baby on the roof multiple times, and then the thing exploding in their face, and then just screaming at everyone in the car just screams.
He's holding the wheel and just the whole time.
And at least he tries to hit the brake, which is more than the other guy with the "son, you got a panty on your head" guy. Like, he doesn't even try to use the brakes. He just holds the wheel and screams. He's just going. And then that chase scene at the beginning where the police and the Quickie Mart guy are firing indiscriminately into people's homes.
Yeah.
And then the dog chase, and then the grocery store where the dogs can't run on the linoleum, and where he throws the Huggies at the cop who gets knocked backwards like this into a cart. Like, it's all so silly. And then the like the bank robbery at the end with the code names and the you want I should freeze or get down on the ground.
Yeah.
Shit, where'd all the tellers go? We're down here, sir.
Yes. I swear, the Coen brothers like to make they're not just let's make a movie. They're also let's make it the most challenging movie because they had dogs and babies.
Uh-huh. And in chase scenes.
Yes.
And she runs through the bank and everyone's still on the ground. And you can hear someone off to the side go, just get down on the floor, Missy. It's a little detail. And the no one less roundest funny guy, when he gets up at 791, he goes, bullshit.
Bullshit. I thought that was great.
And then he gets back down on the ground. 790 Mississippi. 789.
That's just that's just an old person not wanting to bend down again. Like, huh?
Yep. Bullshit. Yeah. Like those scenes combined are so like, they're a very weird comedic turn on those types of scenes. The car chase and the bank robbery scene. I fucking love this movie, and I don't think it's my favorite Coen Brothers movie. It's in my top 5, I think, but
sure.
That speaks to like the total tonnage of amazing shit that they've done. But I think that once again we have proved my theory that everything comes back to Aaron Spelling.
We have indeed.
Even Raising Arizona.
Yeah.
So join us next week, Cheesemeisters, when we're going to take a turn. We are going to watch The Doors.
Oh, I have no idea about this one.
It's a piece of work. It's real interesting. It's a documentary it's a biopic of The Doors.
Cool.
Done Oliver Stone. It is Oliver Stone is his own special brand, a crazy kind of movie. And I really loved this movie when it came out. Val Kilmer's performance as Jim Morrison it's a little bit of a caricature, especially if you like talk to Ray Manzarek today. Or I don't think you can. I think he died. I mean, well, I mean, it's been 50 years, so some of them are going to have passed at this point. Yeah, exactly.
Got it.
So, but he looks so much like Jim Morrison in the way he's done and the way he acts. This is peak Val Kilmer. We might be spoiling defining roles for Val Kilmer. I'm not sure.
That's okay. I'm excited. I think we can talk more again about how we think we love music biopics.
Yeah, right.
You know?
This one I like, though. Let's see if I still like it. Because Meg Ryan is in a different movie than everybody else, which is kind of amazing.
This movie sounds nuts.
It's totally nuts. And it's a little bit long. So, not Pearl Harbor long, but a little bit long. Not JFK long, but a little bit long. But yeah, buckle up. It's a good one.
All right.
But until then, Cheesemeisters. Cheers.